introduction. In every atom, the positive charge and mass are densely concentrated at the center of the atom, forming its nucleus. The overall dimensions of a nucleus are much smaller than those of an atom. The radius of a nucleus was smaller than the radius of an atom by a factor of about 10 raised to 4. The volume of a nucleus is about 10 raised to minus 12 times the volume of the atom. In other words, an atom is almost empty. For example, if an atom is enlarged to the size of a classroom, the nucleus would be of the size of pinhead. Nevertheless, the nucleus contains most, that is more than 99.9% of the mass of an atom. Does the nucleus have a structure just as the atom does? If so, what are the constituents of the nucleus? How are these held together? In this chapter, we shall look for answers to such questions. We shall discuss various properties of nuclei such as their size, mass, and stability, and also associated nuclear phenomena such as radioactivity, fission, and fusion. Atomic masses and composition of nucleus. The mass of an atom is very small compared to a kilogram. For example, the mass of a carbon atom, carbon-12, is 1.992647 into 10 raised to minus 26 kilogram. A different mass unit is used for expressing atomic masses. This unit is the atomic mass unit U, defined as 1/12 of the mass of the carbon, that is carbon-12 atom. One atomic mass unit is equal to mass of one carbon-12 atom upon 12 is equal to 1.992647 into 10 raised to minus 26 kilogram upon 12 is equal to 1.660539 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilogram. Equation 1. The atomic masses of various elements expressed in atomic mass unit U are close to being integral multiples of the mass of a hydrogen atom. Accurate measurement of atomic masses is carried out with a mass spectrometer. Isotopes. The measurement of atomic masses reveals the existence of different types of atoms of the same element which exhibit the same chemical properties but differ in mass. Such atomic species of the same element differing in mass are called isotopes. In Greek, isotope means the same place, that is, they occur in the same place in the periodic table of elements. It was found that practically every element consists of a mixture of several isotopes. The relative abundance of different isotopes differs from element to element. Chlorine, for example, has two isotopes having masses 34.98 atomic mass unit and 36.98 atomic mass unit, which are nearly integral multiples of the mass of a hydrogen atom. The relative abundances of these isotopes are 75.4 and 24.6% respectively. Thus, the average mass of a chlorine atom is obtained by the weighted average of the masses of the two isotopes is equal to 75.4 into 34.98 plus 24.6 into 36.98 whole upon 100 is equal to 35.47 atomic mass unit, which agrees with the atomic mass of chlorine. Even the lightest element, hydrogen, has three isotopes having masses 1.0078 atomic mass unit, 2.0141 atomic mass unit, and 3.0160 atomic mass unit. The nucleus of the lightest atom of hydrogen, which has a relative abundance of 99.985%, is called the proton. The mass of a proton is Mp is equal to 1.00727 atomic mass unit is equal to 1.67262 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilogram. Equation 2. This is equal to the mass of the hydrogen atom is equal to 1.00783 atomic mass unit minus the mass of a single electron, that is Me, is equal to 0.00055 atomic mass unit. The other two isotopes of hydrogen are called deuterium and tritium. Tritium nuclei, being unstable, do not occur naturally and are produced artificially in laboratories. The positive charge in the nucleus is that of the protons. A proton carries 1 unit of fundamental charge and is stable. All the electrons of an atom are outside the nucleus. The number of these electrons outside the nucleus of the atom is Z. The atomic number. The total charge of the atomic electrons is thus minus Za, and since the atom is neutral, the charge of the nucleus is plus Ze. The number of protons in the nucleus of the atom is therefore exactly Z, the atomic number. Discovery of neutron. Since the nuclei of deuterium and tritium are isotopes of hydrogen, they must contain only one proton each, but the masses of the nuclei of hydrogen, deuterium and tritium are in the ratio of 1:2:3. Therefore, the nuclei of deuterium and tritium must contain, in addition to a proton, some neutral matter. The amount of neutral matter present in the nuclei of these isotopes, expressed in units of mass of a proton, is approximately equal to 1 and 2 respectively. This fact indicates that the nuclei of atoms contain, in addition to protons, neutral matter in multiples of a basic unit. This hypothesis was verified in 1932 by James Chadwick, who observed emission of neutral radiation when beryllium nuclei were bombarded with alpha particles, that is, alpha particles are helium nuclei. It was found that this neutral radiation would knock out protons from light nuclei such as those of helium, carbon and nitrogen. The only neutral radiation known at that time was photons, that is, electromagnetic radiation. If the neutral radiation consisted of photons, the energy of photons would have to be much higher than is available from the bombardment of beryllium nuclei with alpha particles. The clue to this puzzle, which Chadwick satisfactorily solved, was to assume that the neutral radiation consists of a new type of neutral particles called neutrons. From conservation of energy and momentum, he was able to determine the mass of new particle as very nearly the same as mass of proton. The mass of a neutron, Mn, is equal to 1.00866 atomic mass unit, is equal to 1.6749 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilogram. Equation 3. Chadwick was awarded the 1935 Nobel Prize in Physics for his discovery of the neutron. A free neutron, unlike a free proton, is unstable. It decays into a proton, an electron and an antineutrino, that is, another elementary particle, and has a mean life of about 1000 seconds. It is, however, stable inside the nucleus. The composition of a nucleus, Z atomic number, is equal to number of protons, equation 4a, and neutron number is equal to number of neutrons, equation 4b. A, mass number is equal to Z plus N is equal to total number of protons plus total number of neutrons, equation 4c. Nucleon is equal to proton plus neutron. Thus, the number of nucleons in an atom is its mass number A. Nuclear species or nuclides are shown by the notation XZA, where X is the chemical symbol of the species. For example, the nucleus of gold is denoted by Au-79-197. It contains 197 nucleons, of which 79 are protons and the rest 118 are neutrons. Isotopes. The nuclei of isotopes of a given element contain the same number of protons but differ from each other in their number of neutrons. Deuterium H12, which is an isotope of hydrogen, contains 1 proton and 1 neutron. Its other isotope, tritium H13, contains 1 proton and 2 neutrons. The element gold has 32 isotopes ranging from A is equal to 173 to A is equal to 204. Chemical properties of elements depend on their electronic structure. As the atoms of isotopes have identical electronic structure, they have identical chemical behavior and are placed in the same location in the periodic table. Isobars. All nuclides with same mass number A are called isobars. For example, the nuclides hydrogen 1,3 and helium 2,3 are isobars. Isotones. Nuclides with same neutron number N but different atomic number Z. For example, mercury 80-198 and gold 79-197 are called isotones. Size of the nucleus. Rutherford was postulated and established the existence of the atomic nucleus. At Rutherford's suggestion, Geiger and Marsden performed their classic experiment on the scattering of alpha particles from thin gold foils. Their experiments revealed that the distance of closest approach to a gold nucleus of an alpha particle of kinetic energy 5.5 mega electron volt is about 4.0 into 10 raised to minus 14 meter. The scattering of alpha particle by the gold sheet could be understood by Rutherford by assuming that the Coulomb repulsive force was solely responsible for scattering. Since the positive charge is confined to the nucleus, the actual size of the nucleus has to be less than 4.0 into 10 raised to minus 14 meter. If we use alpha particles of higher energies than 5.5 mega electron volt, the distance of closest approach to the gold nucleus will be smaller, and at some point the scattering will begin to be affected by the short-range nuclear forces and differ from Rutherford's calculations. Rutherford's calculations are based on pure Coulomb repulsion between the positive charges of the alpha particle and the gold nucleus. From the distance at which deviations set in nuclear sizes can be inferred. By performing scattering experiments in which fast electrons instead of alpha particles are projectiles that bombard targets made up of various elements, the sizes of nuclei of various elements have been accurately measured. A nucleus of mass number A has a radius r is equal to r0 a raised to 1 upon 3, equation 5, where r0 is equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 15 meter is equal to 1.2 Fermi, where 1 Fermi is equal to 10 raised to minus 15 meter. The volume of the nucleus, which is proportional to r cube, is proportional to A. Thus, the density of nucleus is a constant independent of A. For all nuclei, different nuclei are like a drop of liquid of constant density. The density of nuclear matter is approximately 2.3 into 10 raised to 17 kilogram per meter cube. This density is very large compared to ordinary matter, say water, which is 10 cube kilogram per meter cube. This is understandable. Most of the atom is empty. Ordinary matter consisting of atoms has a large amount of empty space. Example 1. Given the mass of iron nucleus is 55.85 atomic mass unit and A is equal to 56, find the nuclear density. Solution: MFE is equal to 55.85. Atomic mass unit U is equal to 9.27 into 10 raised to minus 26 kilogram. Radius R is equal to R0, A raised to 1 upon 3 is equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 15 into 56 raised to 1 upon 3 meter. Size of nuclear is equal to 4 upon 3 pi R cube is equal to 4.05 into 10 raised to minus 43 meter raised to minus 3. Density of nuclear is equal to mass upon volume is equal to 2.29 into 10 raised to 17 kilogram per meter cube. Mass energy and nuclear binding energy. Special theory of relativity. Before the advent of this theory of special relativity, it was presumed that mass and energy were conserved separately in a reaction. However, Einstein showed that mass is another form of energy and one can convert mass energy into other forms of energy, say kinetic energy and vice versa. Mass energy equivalence relation E is equal to mc square. Equation 6. Here m is the energy equivalent of mass. C is the velocity of light in vacuum, which is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. Experimental verification of the Einstein's mass-energy relation has been achieved in the study of nuclear reactions amongst nucleons, nuclei, electrons, and other more recently discovered particles. In a reaction, the conservation law of energy states that the initial energy and the final energy are equal provided the energy associated with mass is also included. Example 2. Calculate the energy equivalent of 1 gram of substance. Solution: energy E is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 into 3 into 10 raised to 8 whole square joule. E is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 into 9 into 10 raised to 16 joule is equal to 9 into 10 raised to 13 joule. Thus, if 1 gram of matter is converted to energy, there is a release of enormous amount of energy. Nuclear binding energy. Mass defect. The nucleus is made up of neutrons and protons. Therefore, it may be expected that the mass of the nucleus is equal to the total mass of its individual protons and neutrons. However, the nuclear mass m is found to be always less than this. For example, let us consider oxygen 816, a nucleus which has 8 neutrons and 8 protons. Mass of 8 neutrons is equal to 8 into 1.00866 atomic mass unit U. Mass of 8 protons is equal to 8 into 1.00727 atomic mass unit. Mass of 8 electrons is equal to 8 into 0.00055 atomic mass unit. Therefore, the expected mass of oxygen 816 nucleus is equal to 8 into 2.01593 atomic mass unit is equal to 16.12744 atomic mass unit. The atomic mass of oxygen 816 found from mass spectroscopy experiments is seen to be 15.99493 atomic mass unit. Subtracting the mass of 8 electrons, that is 8 into 0.00055 atomic mass unit. From this, we get the experimental mass of oxygen 816 nucleus to be 15.99053 atomic mass unit. Thus, the mass of the oxygen 816 nucleus is less than the total mass of its constituents by 0.13691 atomic mass unit. The difference in mass of a nucleus and its constituents, delta m, is called the mass defect. Delta m is equal to Zmp plus A minus Z into Mn minus M. Equation 7. What is the meaning of the mass defect? It is here that Einstein's equivalence of mass and energy plays a role. Since the mass of the oxygen nucleus is less than the sum of the masses of its constituents, that is, 8 protons and 8 neutrons, in the unbound state, the equivalent energy of the oxygen nucleus is less than that of the sum of the equivalent energies of its constituents. If one wants to break the oxygen nucleus into 8 protons and 8 neutrons, this extra energy delta mc square has to supplied. This energy required EB is related to the mass defect by EB is equal to delta mc square, equation 8. Example 3. Find the energy equivalent of one atomic mass unit, first in joules and then in mega electron volt. Using this, express the mass defect of oxygen 816 in mega electron volt upon C square. Solution: 1 atomic mass unit is equal to 1.6605 into 10 raised to minus 27 kilogram. E is equal to mc square. Energy equivalent is equal to 1.6605 into 10 raised to minus 27 into 2.9979 into 10 raised to 8 whole square kilogram meter square per second square is equal to 1.4924 into 10 raised to minus 10 joule is equal to 1.4924 into 10 raised to minus 10 upon 1.602 into 10 raised to minus 19 electron volt is equal to 0.9315 into 10 raised to 9 electron volt is equal to 931.5 mega electron volt, or 1 atomic mass unit is equal to 931.5 mega electron volt upon C square. 4. Oxygen 816 delta M is equal to 0.13691. Atomic mass unit U is equal to 0.13691 into 931.5 mega electron volt upon C square is equal to 127.5 mega electron volt upon C square. The energy needed to separate oxygen 816 into its constituents is thus 127.5 mega electron volt upon Coulomb square. Binding energy. If a certain number of neutrons and protons are brought together to form a nucleus of a certain change and mass, and energy EB will be released in the process. The energy EB is called the binding energy of the nucleus. If we separate a nucleus into its nucleons, we would have to supply a total energy equal to EB to those particles. Although we cannot tear apart a nucleus in this way, the nuclear binding energy is still a convenient measure of how well a nucleus is held together. A more useful measure of the binding between the constituents of the nucleus is the binding energy per nucleon, EBN, which is the ratio of the binding energy EB of a nucleus to the number of the nucleons A. In that nucleus, EBN is equal to EB upon A. Equation 9. We can think of binding energy per nucleon as the average energy per nucleon needed to separate a nucleus into its individual nucleons. Figure is a plot of the binding energy per nucleon EBN versus the mass number A for a large number of nuclei. Main features of the plot. Number 1. The binding energy per nucleon EBN is practically constant, that is, practically independent of the atomic number for nuclei of middle mass number, that is, 30 is less than A is less than 170. The curve has a maximum of about 8.75 mega electron volt per nucleon for A is equal to 56 and has a value of 7.6 mega electron volt upon nucleon for A is equal to 238. Number 2. EBN is lower for both light nuclei, that is A is less than 30, and heavy nuclei, that is A is greater than 170. Some conclusions from these two observations. Number 1. The force is attractive and sufficiently strong to produce a binding energy of a few MeV per nucleon. Number 2. The constancy of the binding energy in the range 30 is less than A is less than 170 is a consequence of the fact that the nuclear force is short-ranged. If any other nucleon is at a distance more than the range of the nuclear force from the particular nucleon, it will have no influence on the binding energy of the nucleon under consideration. If a nucleon can have a maximum of p neighbors within the range of nuclear force, its binding energy would be proportional to p. Let the binding energy of the nucleus be pk, where k is a constant having the dimensions of energy. If we increase A by adding nucleons, they will not change the binding energy of a nucleon inside. Since most of the nucleons in a large nucleus reside inside it and not on the surface, the change in binding energy per nucleon would be small. The binding energy per nucleon is a constant and is approximately equal to pk. The property that a given nucleon influences only nucleons close to it is also referred to as saturation property of the nuclear force. Number 3. A very heavy nucleus, say A is equal to 240, has lower binding energy per nucleon compared to that of a nucleus with A is equal to 120. Thus, if a nucleus A is equal to 240 breaks into two A is equal to 120 nuclei, nucleons get more tightly bound. This implies energy would be released in the process. Number 4. Consider two very light nuclei, that is A is less than or equal to 10, joining to form a heavier nucleus. The binding energy per nucleon of the fused heavier nuclei is more than the binding energy per nucleon of the lighter nuclei. This means that the final system is more tightly bound than the initial system. Again, energy would be released in such a process of fusion. Nuclear force. The force that determines the motion of atomic electrons is the familiar Coulomb force. Average mass nuclei, the binding energy per nucleon is approximately 8 MeV, which is much larger than the binding energy in atoms. Therefore, to bind a nucleus together, there must be a strong attractive force of a totally different kind. It must be strong enough to overcome the repulsion between the positively charged protons and to bind both protons and neutrons into the tiny nuclear volume. Many features of the nuclear binding force. Number 1. The nuclear force is much stronger than the Coulomb force acting between charges or the gravitational forces between masses. The nuclear binding force has to dominate over the Coulomb repulsive force between protons inside the nucleus. This happens only because the nuclear force is much stronger than the Coulomb force. The gravitational force is much weaker than even Coulomb force. Number 2. The nuclear force between two nucleons falls rapidly to zero as their distance is more than a few femtometers. This leads to saturation of forces in a medium or a large-sized nucleus, which is the reason for the constancy of the binding energy per nucleon. A rough plot of the potential energy between two nucleons as a function of distance is shown in the figure. The potential energy is a minimum at a distance r0 of about 0.8 Fermi. This means that the force is attractive for distances larger than 0.8 Fermi and repulsive if they are separated by distances less than 0.8 Fermi. Number 3. The nuclear force between neutron-neutron, proton-neutron and proton-proton is approximately the same. The nuclear force does not depend on the electric charge. Unlike Coulomb's law or the Newton's law of gravitation, there is no simple mathematical form of the nuclear force. Radioactivity. A. H. Becquerel discovered radioactivity in 1896 while studying the fluorescence and phosphorescence of compounds irradiate with visible light. Becquerel observed an interesting phenomenon. After illuminating some pieces of uranium potassium sulfate with visible light, he wrapped them in black paper and separated the package from a photographic plate by a piece of silver. When, after several hours of exposure, the photographic plate was developed, it showed blackening due to something that must have been emitted by the compound and was able to penetrate both black paper and the silver. Experiments performed subsequently showed that radioactivity was a nuclear phenomenon in which an unstable nucleus undergoes a decay. This is referred to as radioactive decay. Three types of radioactive decay occur in nature. Number 1, alpha decay, in which a helium nucleus, helium-2,4, is emitted. Number 2, beta decay, in which electrons or positrons, that is, particles with the same mass as electrons but with a charge exactly opposite to that of electron, are emitted. Number 3, gamma decay, in which high energy, that is hundreds or kilo electron volt or more, photons are emitted. Law of radioactive decay. In any radioactive sample which undergoes alpha, beta or gamma decay, it is found that the number of nuclei undergoing the decay per unit time is proportional to the total number of nuclei in the sample. If n is the number of nuclei in the sample and delta n undergo decay in time delta t, then delta n upon delta t is proportional to n. Therefore, delta n upon delta t is equal to lambda n, equation 10, where lambda radioactive decay constant or disintegration constant. The change in the number of nuclei in the sample is dn is equal to minus delta n in time delta t. Thus, the rate of change of n is in the limit delta t tends to 0. dn upon dt is equal to minus lambda n, or dn upon n is equal to minus lambda dt. Integrating both sides, integration n0 to n, dn upon n is equal to minus lambda integration t0 to t dt, equation 11. Log of n minus log of n0 is equal to minus lambda into t minus t0, equation 12. Here n0 is the number of radioactive nuclei in the sample at some time t0 and n is the number of radioactive nuclei at any subsequent time t, setting t0 is equal to 0. Log of n upon n0 is equal to minus lambda t, equation 13. Log of n is equal to minus lambda t into n0. Therefore, n of t is equal to n0 e raised to minus lambda t, equation 14. The light bulbs follow no such exponential decay law. If we test 1000 bulbs for their life, that is, time span before they burn out or fuse, we expect that they will decay, that is, burn out, at more or less the same time. The decay of radionuclides follows quite a different law. The law of radioactive decay represented by equation 14. The total decay rate R of a sample is the number of nuclei disintegrating per unit time. Suppose in a time interval dt, the decay count measured is delta n, then dn is equal to minus lambda n. The positive quantity R is then defined as R is equal to minus dn upon dt. Differentiating equation 14, n of t is equal to n0 e raised to minus lambda t. dn upon dt is equal to n0 lambda e raised to minus lambda t. R is equal to lambda n0 e raised to minus lambda t. Therefore, R is equal to R0 e raised to minus lambda t. Equation 15. This is equivalent to the law of radioactive decay. R0 is equal to lambda n0 is the decay rate at T is equal to 0. The decay rate R at a certain time T and the number of undecayed nuclei n at the same time are related by R is equal to lambda n. Equation 16. Where R and the number of radioactive nuclei that have not yet undergone decay must be evaluated at the same instant. The total decay rate R of a sample of one or more radionuclides is called the activity of that sample. The SI unit for activity is becquerel. 1 becquerel is equal to 1 BQ is equal to 1 decay per second. An older unit, the curie, is still in common use. 1 curie is equal to 1 Ci is equal to 3.7 into 10 raised to 10 becquerel, that is decays per second. There are two common time measures of how long any given type of radionuclide lasts. One measure is the half-life T1/2 of a radionuclide, which is the time at which both N and R have been reduced to 1/2 their initial values. The other measure is the mean life tau, which is the time at which both N and R have been reduced to e raised to -1 of their initial values. Half-life of a radionuclide, denoted by T1/2, is the time it takes for a sample that has initially, say, N0 radionuclei to reduce to N0/2. In equation 14, putting N is equal to N0/2 and T is equal to T1/2 in N0/2 is equal to N0 e raised to minus lambda T1/2. 1/2 is equal to e raised to minus lambda T1/2. Therefore, log of 2 raised to minus 1 is equal to log of e raised to minus lambda T1/2. Minus 1 log of 2 is equal to minus lambda T1/2 log of e. Therefore, log of 2 is equal to lambda T1/2 because of log of e is equal to 1. T1/2 is equal to log of 2 upon lambda is equal to 0.693 upon lambda. Equation 17. Clearly, if N0 reduces to half its value in time T1/2, R0 will also reduce to half its value in the same time according to equation 16. The average life or mean life tau can also be obtained from equation 14. The number of nuclei which decay in the time interval t to t plus delta t is R of t. Delta t is equal to lambda n0 e raised to minus lambda t into delta t. Each of them has lived for time t. Thus, the total life of all these nuclei would be t into lambda n0 e raised to minus lambda t into delta t. It is clear that some nuclei may live for a short time while others may live longer. Therefore, to obtain the mean life, we have to sum or integrate this expression over all times from 0 to infinity and divide by the total number n0 of nuclei at t is equal to 0. Thus, tau is equal to lambda n0 integration 0 to infinity t e raised to minus lambda t dt upon n0 is equal to lambda integration 0 to infinity t e raised to minus lambda t dt. One can show by performing this integral that tau is equal to 1 upon lambda. We summarize these results with the following. T1/2 is equal to log of 2 upon lambda is equal to tau log of 2. Equation 18. Those radioactive elements whose half-life is short compared to the age of the universe, that is 13.7 billion years, are not found in observable quantities in nature today. They have, however, been seen in the laboratory in nuclear reactions. Tritium and plutonium belong to this category. Example 4. The half-life of uranium-92 238 undergoing alpha decay is 4.5 into 10 raised to 9 years. What is the activity of 1 gram sample of uranium-92-238? Solution: T1 half is equal to 4.5 into 10 raised to 9 year is equal to 4.5 into 10 raised to 9 year into 365 into 24 into 3600 second is equal to 4.5 into 10 raised to 9 years into 3.16 into 10 raised to 7 second per years is equal to 1.42 into 10 raised to 17 second. 1 kilomole of any isotope contains Avogadro's number of atoms, and so 1 graph of uranium-92-238 contains is equal to 1 upon 238 into 10 raised to minus 3 kilomole into 6.025 into 10 raised to 26 atoms per kilomole is equal to 25.3 into 10 raised to 20 atoms. The decay rate R is equal to lambda n is equal to 0.693 upon T1 half, n is equal to 0.693 into 25.3 into 10 raised to 20 upon 1.42 into 10 raised to 17 second inverse is equal to 1.23 into 10 raised to 4 second inverse is equal to 1.23 into 10 raised to 4 becquerel. Example 5. Tritium has a half-life of 12.5 years. Undergoing beta decay, what fraction of a sample of pure tritium will remain undecayed after 25 years? Solution: by definition of half-life, half of the initial sample will remain undecayed after 12.5 years. In the next 12.5 years, 1/2 of these nuclei would have decayed. Hence, 1/4 of the sample of the initial pure tritium will remain undecayed. Alpha decay. An example of alpha decay is the decay of uranium-92-238 to thorium-90-234 with the emission of a helium nucleus. Uranium-92-238 gives thorium-90-234 plus helium-24. Alpha decay. Equation 19. In alpha decay, the mass number of the product nucleus, that is daughter nucleus, is 4 less than that of the decaying nucleus, that is parent nucleus, while the atomic number decreases by 2. Alpha decay of a parent nucleus XZA results in a daughter nucleus YZ-2 A-4. XZA gives YZ-2 A-4 plus helium-24. Equation 20. This spontaneous decay is possible only when the total mass of the decay products is less than the mass of the initial nucleus. For example, the total mass of thorium-90-234 and helium-24 is indeed less than that of uranium-92-238. The value of a nuclear reaction or the disintegration energy Q is equal to initial mass energy minus the total mass energy of the decay product. For alpha decay, Q is equal to mx minus my minus m helium into c square. Equation 21. Q is also the net kinetic energy gained in the process, or if the initial nucleus X is at rest, the kinetic energy of the products. Clearly, Q is greater than 0 for exothermic processes such as alpha decay. Example 6. We are given the following atomic masses. Uranium-92-238 is equal to 238.05079 atomic mass unit. Thorium-90-234 is equal to 234.04363 atomic mass unit. Protactinium-91-237 is equal to 237.05121 atomic mass unit. Helium-24 is equal to 4.00260 atomic mass unit. Hydrogen 11 is equal to 1.00783 atomic mass unit. Here the symbol Pa is for the element protactinium. Z is equal to 91. A. Calculate the energy released during the alpha decay of uranium-92-238. B. Show that uranium-92-238 cannot spontaneously emit a proton. Solution A. The alpha decay of uranium-92-238 is given by equation XZA gives YZ-2A-4 plus helium-2 The energy released in this process is given by Q is equal to m uranium minus m thorium minus m helium into C square. Q is equal to 238.05079 minus 234.04363 minus 4.00260 atomic mass unit into C square is equal to 0.00456 atomic mass unit into C square is equal to 0.00456 atomic mass unit into 931.5 mega electron volt upon atomic mass unit is equal to 4.25 mega electron volt. B. If uranium-92-238 spontaneously emits a proton, the decay process would be uranium-92-238 gives protactinium-91-237 plus hydrogen-11. The Q for this process to happen is Q is equal to m uranium minus m protactinium minus m hydrogen into C square is equal to 238.05079 minus 237.05121 minus 1.00783 atomic mass unit into C square is equal to minus 0.00825 atomic mass unit into C square is equal to minus 0.00825 atomic mass unit into 931.5 mega electron volt upon atomic mass unit is equal to minus 7.68 mega electron volt. Thus, the Q of the process is negative and therefore it cannot proceed spontaneously. We will have to supply an energy of 7.68 mega electron volt to a uranium-92-238 nucleus to make it emit a proton. Beta decay. In beta decay, a nucleus spontaneously emits an electron, that is beta minus decay, or a positron, that is beta plus decay. Beta minus decay, phosphorus 1532 gives sulfur 1632 plus electron plus antineutrino, equation 22. Beta plus decay, sodium 1122 gives neon 1022 plus positron plus neutrino, equation 23. The emission of electron in beta minus decay is accompanied by the emission of an antineutrino. In beta plus decay, instead a neutrino is generated. Neutrons are neutral particles with very small, possibly even zero mass compared to electrons. They have only weak interaction with other particles. They are therefore very difficult to detect since they can penetrate large quantity of matter, even Earth, without any interaction. In both beta minus and beta plus decay, the mass number A remains unchanged. In beta minus decay, the atomic number Z of the nucleus goes up by 1, while in beta plus decay, Z goes down by 1. The basic nuclear process underlying beta minus decay is the conversion of neutron to proton. Neutron gives proton plus electron plus antineutrino, equation 24, and beta plus decay It is the conversion of proton into neutron. Proton gives neutron plus positron plus neutrino. Equation 25. A free neutron decays to proton. The decay of proton to neutron is possible only inside the nucleus since proton has smaller mass than neutron. Gamma decay. Like an atom, a nucleus also has discrete energy levels, the ground state and excited states. The scale of energy is, however, very different. Atomic energy level spacings are of the order of electron volt, while the difference in nuclear energy levels is of the order of mega electron volt. When a nucleus in an excited state spontaneously decays to its ground state or to a lower energy state, a photon is emitted with energy equal to the difference in the two energy levels of the nucleus. This is the so-called gamma decay. The energy mega electron volt corresponds to radiation of extremely short wavelength, shorter than the hard X-ray region. Typically, a gamma ray is emitted when the alpha or beta decay results in a daughter nucleus in an excited state. This then returns to the ground state by a single photon transition or successive transitions involving more than one photon. A familiar example is the successive emission of gamma rays of energies 1.17 mega electron volt and 1.33 mega electron volt from the de-excitation of nickel 2860 nuclei formed from beta minus decay of cobalt 2760. Nuclear energy. The curve of binding energy per nucleon EBN has a long flat middle region between A is equal to 30 and A is equal to 170. In this region, the binding energy per nucleon is nearly constant, that is 8.0 mega electron volt. For the lighter nuclei region, A is less than 30. And for the heavier nuclei region, A is greater than 170. The binding energy per nucleon is less than 8.0 mega electron volt. Now, the greater the binding energy, the less is the total mass of a bound system such as a nucleus. Consequently, if nuclei with less total binding energy transform to nuclei with greater binding energy, there will be a net energy release. This is what happens when a heavy nucleus decays into two or more intermediate mass fragments, that is fission, or when light nuclei fuse into a heavier nucleus, that is fusion. In conventional energy sources like coal or petroleum, energy is released through chemical reactions. The energies involved are of the order of electrons volts per atom. As we have seen, energies involved in nuclear processes are million times larger in mega electron volts per nucleon. This means that for the same quantity of matter, nuclear sources will give a million times larger energy than conventional sources. 1 kilogram of coal on burning gives 10⁷ joule of energy, whereas 1 kilogram of uranium which undergoes fission will generate on fission 10⁻14 joule of energy. Fission. New possibilities emerge when we go beyond natural radioactive decays and study nuclear reactions by bombarding nuclei with other nuclear particles such as proton, neutron, alpha particle, etc. A most important neutron-induced nuclear reaction is fission. An example of fission is when a uranium isotope bombarded with a neutron breaks into two intermediate mass nuclear fragments, neutron 01 plus uranium 92-235 gives uranium 92-236 gives barium 56-144 plus krypton 36-89 plus 3 times neutron 01. Equation 26. The same reaction can produce other pairs of intermediate mass fragments. Neutron 01 plus uranium 92-235 gives uranium 92-236 gives antimony 51-133 plus niobium 41-99 plus 4 times neutron 01, equation 27. Or as another example, neutron 01 plus uranium 92-235 gives uranium 92-236 gives xenon 54-140 gives strontium 38-94 plus 2 times neutron 01, equation 28. The fragment products are radioactive nuclei. They emit beta particles in succession to achieve stable end products. The energy released, the Q value in the fission reaction of nuclei like uranium is of the order of 200 mega electron volt per fissioning nucleus. Let us take a nucleus with A is equal to 240 breaking into two fragments each of A is equal to 120. Then EBN for A is equal to 240. Nucleus is about 7.6 mega electron volt. EBN for the two A is equal to 120. Fragment nuclei is about 8.5 mega electron volt. Gain in binding energy for nucleon is about 0.9 mega electron volt. Hence, the total gain in binding energy is 240 into 0.9 is equal to 216 mega electron volt. The disintegration energy is fission events first appears as the kinetic energy of the fragments and neutrons. Eventually, it is transferred to the surrounding matter appearing as heat. The source of energy in nuclear reactors which produce electricity is nuclear fission. The enormous energy released in an atom bomb comes from uncontrolled nuclear fission. Nuclear reactor. There is a release of extra neutron, that is S, in the fission process. Averagely, 2 and 1/2 neutrons are released per fission of uranium nucleus. It is a fraction since in some fission events 2 neutrons are produced, in some 3, etc. The extra neutrons in turn can initiate fission processes producing still more neutrons and so on. This leads to the possibility of a chain reaction, as was first suggested by Enrico Fermi. If the chain reaction is controlled suitably, we can get a steady energy output. This is what happens in a nuclear reactor if the chain reaction is uncontrolled. It leads to explosive energy output, as in a nuclear bomb. It is known experimentally that show neutrons, that is thermal neutrons, are much more likely to cause fission in uranium 92-235 than fast neutrons. Also, fast neutrons liberated in fission would escape instead of causing another fission reaction. The average energy of a neutron produced in fission of uranium 92-235 is 2 mega electron volt. These neutrons, unless slowed down, will escape from the reactor without interacting with the uranium nuclei, unless a very large amount of fissionable material is used for sustaining the chain reaction. What one needs to do is to slow down the fast neutrons by elastic scattering with light nuclei. Therefore, in reactors, light nuclei called moderators are provided along with the fissionable nuclei for slowing down fast neutrons. The moderators commonly used are water, heavy water D2O, and graphite. The Apsara reactor at the Bhabha Atomic Research Center BARC, Mumbai uses water as moderator. The other Indian reactors which are used for power production use heavy water as moderator. Because of the use of moderator, it is possible that the ratio K of number of fission produced by a given generation of neutrons to the number of fission of the preceding generation may be greater than 1. This ratio is called the multiplication factor. It is the measure of the growth rate of the neutrons in the reactor. For k is equal to 1, the operation of the reactor is said to be critical, which is what we wish it to be for steady power operation. If k becomes greater than 1, the reaction rate and the reactor power increases exponentially. Unless the factor k is brought down very close to unity, the reactor will become supercritical and can even explode. The reaction rate is controlled through control rods made out of neutron-absorbing material such as cadmium. In addition to control rods, reactors are provided with safety rods which, when required, can be inserted into the reactor and K can be reduced rapidly to less than unity. The more abundant isotope, uranium-92-238, in naturally occurring uranium is non-fissionable. When it captures a neutron, it produces the highly radioactive plutonium through this reaction. Uranium-92-238 plus neutron gives uranium-92-239 gives Neptunium-93-239 plus electron plus antineutrino. Neptunium-93-239 gives plutonium-94-239 plus electron plus antineutrino. Equation 29. Plutonium undergoes fission with slow neutrons. Figure shows the schematic diagram of a nuclear reactor based on thermal neutron fission. The core of the reactor is the site of nuclear fission. It contains the fuel elements in suitably fabricated form. The fuel may be, say, enriched uranium, that is, one that has greater abundance of uranium-92-235 than naturally occurring uranium. The core contains a moderator to slow down the neutrons. The core is surrounded by a reflector to reduce leakage. The energy, that is heat released in fission, is continuously removed by a suitable coolant. A containment vessel prevents the escape of radioactive fission products. The whole assembly is shielded to check harmful radiation from coming out. The reactor can be shut down by means of rods made of, for example, cadmium that have high absorption of neutrons. The coolant transfers heat to a working fluid, which in turn may produce steam. The steam drives turbines and generates electricity. Like any power reactor, nuclear reactors generate considerable waste products. But nuclear waste need special care for treatment since they are radioactive and hazardous. An appropriate plan is being evolved to study the possibility of converting radioactive waste into less active and short-lived material. Nuclear fusion energy production in stars. When two light nuclei fuse to form a larger nucleus, energy is released. Since the larger nucleus is more tightly bound, some examples of such energy liberating nuclear fusion reactions are hydrogen 11 plus hydrogen 11 gives hydrogen 12 plus positron plus neutrino plus 0.42 mega electron volt. Equation 29a. Hydrogen 12 plus hydrogen 12 gives helium 23 plus neutron plus 3.27 mega electron volt. Equation 29b. Hydrogen 12 plus hydrogen 12 gives hydrogen 13 plus hydrogen 11 plus 4.03 mega electron volt. Equation 29c. In the first reaction, two protons combine to form a deuteron and a positron with a release of 0.42 mega electron volt energy. In reaction 29b, two deuterons combine to form the light isotope of helium. In reaction 29C, two deuterons combine to form a triton and a proton. For fusion to take place, the two nuclei must come close enough so that attractive short-range nuclear force is able to affect them. However, since they are both positively charged particles, they experience Coulomb repulsion. They, therefore, must have enough energy to overcome this Coulomb barrier. The height of the barrier depends on the charges and radii of the two interacting nuclei. It can be shown, for example, that the barrier height for two protons is similar to 400 kV and is higher for nuclei with higher charges. We can estimate the temperature at which two protons in a proton gas would averagely have enough energy to overcome the Coulomb barrier. 3/2 kT is equal to K is approximately equal to 400 kV, which gives T is similar to 3 into 10⁹ Kelvin. When fusion is achieved by raising the temperature of the system so that particles have enough kinetic energy to overcome the Coulomb repulsive behavior, it is called thermonuclear fusion. Thermonuclear fusion is the source of energy output in the interior of stars. The interior of the Sun has a temperature of 1.5 into 10⁷ Kelvin, which is considerably less than the estimated temperature required for fusion of particles of average energy. Clearly, fusion in the Sun involves protons whose energies are much above the average energy. The fusion reaction in the Sun is a multi-step process in which the hydrogen is burned into helium. Thus, the fuel in the Sun is the hydrogen in its core. The proton-proton, that is PP, cycle by which this occurs is represented by the following sets of reactions. Hydrogen 1,1 plus hydrogen 1,1 gives hydrogen 1,2 plus positron plus neutrino plus 0.42 mega electron volt. Set 1. Positron plus electron gives gamma plus 1.02 mega electron volt. Set 2. Hydrogen 1,2 plus hydrogen 1,1 gives helium 2,3 plus gamma plus 5.49 mega electron volt. Set 3. Helium 2,3 plus helium 2,3 gives helium 2,4 plus hydrogen 1,1 plus hydrogen 1,1 plus 12.86 mega electron volt. Set 4. Equation 30. For the fourth reaction to occur, the first three reactions must occur twice, in which case two light helium nuclei unite to form ordinary helium nucleus. If we consider the combination 2 into 1 plus 2 into 2 plus 2 into 3 plus 4, the net effect is 4 hydrogen 1,1 plus 2 electron gives helium 2,4 plus 2 neutrino plus 6 gamma plus 26.7 mega electron volt, or 4 hydrogen 1,1 plus 4 electron gives helium 2,4 plus 2 electron plus 2 neutrino plus 6 gamma plus 26.7 mega electron volt. Equation 31. Thus, for hydrogen atoms combine to form an helium 2,4 atom with a release of 26.7 mega electron volt of energy. Helium is not the only element that can be synthesized in the interior of a star. As the hydrogen in the core gets depleted and becomes helium, the core starts to cool. The star begins to collapse under its own gravity, which increases the temperature of the core. If this temperature increases to about 10⁸ Kelvin, fusion takes place again, this time of helium nuclei into carbon. This kind of process can generate through fusion higher and higher mass number elements, but elements more massive than those near the peak of the binding energy curve in figure cannot be so produced. The age of the Sun is about 5 into 10 raised to 9 years, and it is estimated that there is enough hydrogen in the Sun to keep it going for another 5 billion years. After that, the hydrogen burning will stop and the Sun will begin to cool and will start to collapse under gravity, which will raise the core temperature. The outer envelope of the Sun will expand, turning it into the so-called red giant. Controlled thermonuclear fusion. The natural thermonuclear fusion process in a star is replicated in a thermonuclear fusion device. In controlled fusion reactors, the aim is to generate steady power by heating the nuclear fuel to a temperature in the range of 10 raised to 8 Kelvin. At these temperatures, the fuel is a mixture of positive ions and electrons, that is plasma. The challenge is to confine this plasma since no container can stand such a high temperature. Several countries around the world, including India, are developing techniques in this connection. If successful, fusion reactors will hopefully supply almost unlimited power to humanity. Example 7. Answer the following questions. A. Are the equations of nuclear reactions balanced in the sense a chemical equation? For example, 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O is. If not, in what sense are they balanced on both sides? B. If both the number of protons and the number of neutrons are conserved in each nuclear reaction, in what way is mass converted into energy or vice versa in a nuclear reaction? C. A general impression exists that mass-energy interconversion takes place only in nuclear reaction and never in chemical reaction. This is strictly speaking incorrect. Explain. Solution A. A chemical equation is balanced in the sense that the number of atoms of each element is the same on both sides of the equation. A chemical reaction merely alters the original combinations of atoms. In a nuclear reaction, elements may be transmuted. Thus, the number of atoms of each element is not necessarily conserved in a nuclear reaction. However, the number of protons and the number of neutrons are both separately conserved in a nuclear reaction. Actually, even this is not strictly true. In the realm of very high energies, what is strictly conserved is the total charge and total baryon number in nuclear. B. The binding energy of a nucleus gives a negative contribution to the mass of the nucleus, that is mass defect. Now, since proton number and neutron number are conserved in a nuclear reaction, the total raised mass of neutrons and protons is the same on either side of a reaction, but the total binding energy of nuclei on the left side need not be the same as that on the right hand side. The difference in these binding energies appears as energy released or absorbed in a nuclear reaction. Since binding energy contributes to mass, we say that the difference in the total mass of nuclei on the two sides get converted into energy or vice versa. It is in this sense that a nuclear reaction is an example of mass-energy interconversion. C. From the point of view of mass-energy interconversion, a chemical reaction is similar to a nuclear reaction in principle. The energy released or absorbed in a chemical reaction can be traced to the difference in chemical, not nuclear binding energies of atoms and molecules on the two sides of a reaction. Chemical binding energy also gives a negative contribution, that is mass defect, to the total mass of an atom or molecule. We can equally well say that the difference in the total mass of atoms or molecules on the two sides of the chemical reaction gets converted into energy or vice versa. However, the mass defects involved in a chemical reaction are almost 1,000,000 times smaller than those in a nuclear reaction. This is the reason for the general impression which is incorrect, that mass energy interconversion does not take place in a chemical reaction.